There's lots to unpack. So I'm going to maybe pick a few things here and there and start with something that closer to the end of what you were saying is this scientific nature of sound. How did you discover that? Was it something that surprised you? Was it something that you always felt was there and then you just filled in the gaps? What was that like for you to discover the science side of sound and music?
It's very interesting because, you know, I'm like a kid in a candy store right now, and I really want to keep being that person. I think that there's unbelievable research that has been done on how specific frequencies, specific, again, I was talking about nature, just being outside and receiving the frequencies of the animals, of the plants, of the earth can literally change our entire well-being. So it has been very, if anything, comforting, if that makes sense, because I just like a lot of people, and especially without talking about, but with everything we lived and being isolated also from all of that, I think a lot of us lost track of perhaps who we are and our own balance as humans. To know that there's simple solution to this, as simple as going outside and play for a minute in a forest, I feel is fantastic, because it's not about right now selling a product and trying to get people to get their credit card art. No, it's like, it's just about starting the conversation and recognizing that when we wake up in the morning and that we're craving to listen to a specific song, there's a science to that. That's not just because, it's actually because your body, maybe your mind, maybe there's some emotions that you want to get out of your system. You can't verbalize it. You don't even know that it's in there. But somehow by listening to this specific piece of music that is, can be commercial, can be dance music, can be anything, will unlock whatever needs to be unlocked inside of you and allow you to free yourself or to raise your energy and vibe. And, even the phenomenon of putting music on repeat, I was just talking about that yesterday with a colleague of mine. I've done that so many times. I drove people nuts by putting on that same song over and over and over. But when we take a minute and we're like, hey, why? Why do I do that? It's like, why do I crave suddenly to eat perhaps, a great salad with like, tomatoes and cucumbers and everything. And my body is craving something inside this meal that I'm probably lacking on. So the same concept seems to be possible to apply to music. If I'm in need of a specific frequency, I might not know that, but my body is sending me this reference point, and my memory remembers listening to this specific track, and somehow it seems to be my, medicine for the moment, or my solution to fix something or to help myself to move forward in my next, phase throughout my day. The same thing goes with, if people work out and they have a soundscape, some music are just going to give you that kick. So I think for me, the more I dive in, the more I ask questions also, and that I immerse myself into the subject matter, I think the facility to start having discussions with everybody about that subject is what makes me feel good about keep on going. Because if it was only like trap up there with scientific facts that nobody can access, then it's like, okay, great, but but no, we can all get out right now and start implementing techniques, or just recognizing our habits when we listen to music, and recognizing that, hey, if I'm not feeling good today, actually listening to a song that might meet where I'm at emotionally is probably the best way for me to move on or to let go of that emotion. And next thing you know, you might actually want to listen to something that's a little bit happier or more energized, and you're recognizing, hey, I'm actually feeling good right now, you know? It's I kept on saying it's hard to listen for to a song, for example, like Don't Worry, Be Happy, if you're crying and it's raining outside and you're like, you know, in pure depression. So there's something to it again that applies to all of us without us feeling that we need to study or like, you know, going on the drain or it's too complex. No, no, it's we're already all doing it, but we're not talking about it perhaps as much as we should, especially in moments in time right now when I believe, you know, we need a boost and a big hug as humans, you know, for ourselves, to ourselves, but also as a community. And we need to help each other stay human, stay connected with one another. And music can do that. And, you know, science is proving it at certain level, but there's also our common sense that it plays a lot in it that is important to listen to.
Amazing. So many different directions that we could go.
I know,
Um,
right?
it's such a fascinating topic. I mean, I mean, there's this conversation around the connection between our body and sound, um,
Mhm.
what our body needs, the way that sound can affect our body, and that I think that naturally leads into conversations around our environment and the way that sound is put into our environment, the way that we experience our environments through sound and audio and music. So that's one area that we can go. Another one that just dawned on me as you were talking about this is, you know, what's been the impact of the commercialization of music on
Oh.
the way that we experience music and sound? Um, you know, if you think about from the you know, tribal and ritual to music in religion, you know, early Christianity, music in early Christianity, and the way that it was music was used, chant, and the way that it influenced architecture, the way that it influenced emotional response and was used as a method to, in effect, control emotion or control thought, to into, you know, the romantic period, the Renaissance, and getting into, you know, the compositions of Germany and Austria, and you know, the big classical composers that we think about, the Baroque
Mm.
period, and then into the, you know, the 19th and 20th and into the 21st century, the commercialization, the mass commercialization of music. How has that influenced the way that we experience music, maybe the way that we access or use music and sound for our wellness? So that's another area that we could explore.